Hello everyone, welcome to SAS Programming Master Classes. So in this particular class of today, I'm going to explain about different libraries, what we have in SAS. And apart from that, what are the rules you need to keep in mind while trying to write a SAS programming. So we'll just talk about that one by one. Hello all, I'm Naidu. I'm a SAS trainer and programmer with 15 years of domain experience. So in this particular class, we'll just see the agenda. So you can just see the agenda part, how to save log, how to save output and as well as data sets we'll see. Then followed by how to create your own libraries in SAS, then followed by the rules you need to keep in mind so while writing the program, then followed by the task, and then followed by the question and answers if any. So let's get started with it. So for this, first of all, let me just open SAS. Okay, so now let me try to write a simple program, as you already know that. So what I can do is your data set name, test, I'm trying to write it, semicolon, input as the statement. So I can write it, patient ID is one particular variable, then followed by age, then followed by gender. I'm trying to write it with the dollar sign. Then card statement, I'm trying to write it, patient ID 10, age of that patient is, let's imagine, so maybe 85 years, gender is male, I'm writing it. Another one is 20, so the patient is around 45 years, female. Another one is 30, I'm writing it here, maybe 56 years, male. Give the semicolon, I'm trying to write here, run. So what it will do once I run this, once I execute it, so the data set is just getting created. So you just check your log. Log is not having any issues or warnings or anything. Everything is clean. It is saying the data set is saved in work library with the name of test. There we have a three observations and three variables containing a data. Observations is nothing but your rows. Variables is nothing but columns. So it is created. Where it is created? It is created in the work library. Default. It is just saying in the work library the data set is just got saved. So that's making sense. Instead of this one, okay, I'm interested to save this data set. Okay, so it is automatically saving into work. Instead of work, you are interested to save it in another library. Let's imagine. So here you just go to what I can say that in this particular SAS user, you want to store it. You can store it there also. First, let me select it and all. I can delete it like this, or else I can do writing a small program also. Instead of you manually selecting and deleting, you can write it an option called proc, means it's a procedure, data sets. I'm trying to write it. So okay, library equal to library, library equal to okay. So I think we can directly write it, proc data sets. So just write it, kill proc data sets. Kill, if I try to write it, semicolon, run. If I do this, what happens, the work library containing a data will be get killed. Suppose if I try to see this test data set, when you execute this piece of code and run it, so the test data set is removed or it's deleted by just using this. Or else you're specifically interested to remove the data sets which are there in the SAS user instead of SAS help. Maybe in this particular SAS user, I want to remove it. So then you mention it, library library equal to, so library equal to, you mention SAS user. You are telling that to SAS specifically, try to kill or delete all the data sets which are there in the SAS user. See, all my SAS user containing a data sets are gone. Okay, now my interest is I want to save this particular test data set in SAS user. So then what I can tell to my SAS, I can just mention it SAS user dot test. If I try to write it, when I execute it, new data set will be get saved into the test. Sorry, test is the data set will be get saved into the SAS user library. Yeah, that's making sense. So we can store it, the new data set into this location. So there is no doubt on it. We can do that also. And not only that, I want to create your own library. Right now, what happened? So we have work and SAS user only. We can store the data. Work is the default. If I'm not specifying anything default, it will go and store into work library. But if you want to store it in SAS user, we are writing SAS user.test so that you are allowing the test data set to save it in SAS user. But you want to store it in SAS help. I think I have covered this part also yesterday's class. So if I try to store it in SAS help, SAS help dot test, when you try to do it, it will throw an error message saying it user doesn't have an appropriate authorization level library for SAS help, because SAS help is a read-only access library. You can't store anything in the SAS help. That's a problem. Okay, so apart from that, can we create own library for our requirement? Yes, definitely we can create it. So right now, work and SAS user, whenever I install SAS in my computer, automatically these libraries are came into picture. Imagine in my project, they're asking me to create a separate libraries and try to store that particular data for that particular project related stuff into a different libraries. So how I can create this library? So the question is, first try to understand the basic understanding how the existing libraries are working. Then we can create a new library. Imagine any library appearing here means, so it is just like a folder. But this folder is not a physical folder here in this library's location, it is exist. No. So this physical folder appearing here from somewhere. Where is that path, or where that particular data, or maybe where that location of that particular files are getting stored? Go to properties. There it is saying it. See user OneDrive. So there documents, my SAS files 9.4 is the folder we have it. So let me just go to the documents. Okay. So now after this document, what is that file name? They are just saying it here after the document. Go to somebody, please put the mute. Hello. Hello.
Are you serious? Okay, pick one. Is it right?
Don't have option to control that also. Hello, somebody can put the mute. Attendee number 14. Thank you. Okay, so now here, what I'm interested, I'm interested to first I want to see this where this particular path containing a data is, right? This one, you're just looking for it. See OneDrive, and after that OneDrive, then documents and my SAS files 9.4. So where is that OneDrive? That means it's the documents. So then followed by my SAS files, then followed by 9.4. So this is the location. Actually, my SAS user, see the test data set is automatically comes here. Whenever I'm storing it, something into this particular location of my SAS user here, ultimately, so the data set will be get saved into my desktop location at somewhere documents, my SAS files 9.4 folder, you are getting it. Understand? Imagine if I try to remove it from here, select it and remove it. I removed. So automatically it will be removed from here. Go to view and click on refresh so that it's removed from here. So library is the bridge between your SAS software to your desktop or maybe to your computer. So it is just taking a path of that particular folder where it is located, and it's been connected to the SAS. That is what it is working actually. Any folder you see here, even SAS help also, right click on it and go to properties. There also SAS help is coming from SAS program file. So here some location I'm getting it. But why these many folders are connected? The reason is few of the files which are appearing. See right now, first of all, open the SAS help. There are plenty of files. Some of them are datasets, some of them are catalogs, and some of them are with the different files also. You can just see right now, like a macro files also we can see this type of files, and as well as we do have a macro files like this also. So all these files are available with different locations. Not it's not contributing all the data from one folder. There are multiple folders on my desktop, all the folders combined together and trying to bring it into one particular folder. That is your SAS help. That is automatically happening in the back end of your SAS when you are installing it. If you want it, you can create that one also. Now our interest is to create our own library like this. Now you are clear how these existing libraries are working. So if you want to create a library, we need to create a folder path from somewhere. So to make it that correct, what I'll do is, let me create a folder on my desktop. Let me just go here. Okay, I'll just go to my desktop here. Okay, if I try to do this, I'll exit from the full screen. Yep. So right click on it, go to new folder on my desktop. The folder name can be anything, I can keep it. I'll try to keep my folder name as a ABC. Done. Open it. So now the folder is just got opened. Empty folder of this one. I have ABC is the file. You make sure to press with your mouse here so that the path will be get highlighted. Using a Control C to copy the folder path of that one. Once the folder path is copied, you come to your SAS. So now your interest is to store this particular data set instead of SAS help. So you are interested to store it into your own library. So you try writing a program to create a library. How to create it? Lib name, you need to write it. That is your library name. After that, we need to mention your library name. So my library name can be anything. So the rule of creating a library, make sure to have the library name is lesser than 8 characters. You can't have the library name more than 8. So we can just write it less than 8 character. It can be uppercase, it can be lowercase, it can be a mixed case, not a problem. Only problem is when there is a special characters, if you are mentioning it with a star, hash or anything, it won't work. But underscore signs also accepted names. So for time being, so this I'm trying to write it with the name of project one because I'm working on the first project. So I thought of writing my library name as a PJ01 is the folder name I want to create it, library name I want to create it. So start with the P, not a problem. You don't have any special character, but I have a numbers, that's okay. And that too, my length of that particular library name is just 4 digits. Actually, up to 8 digits length I can write it, but right now I have used 4, but still accepted one. So then in a quotation, you need to tell that. So this is my folder name, like our SAS help, SAS user work. So PJ01 is the folder will be created. So like other what I can say that libraries, we do have a path connected to some desktop locations, right? The same thing you do this one also. I'm interested to connect the ABC folder of my desktop one into the PJ01 folder and give the semicolon. That's it, we're done with it. So our interest is to create a folder on your library's location with the name of PJ01, and we have given a path of that file where it is located. That's making nice. So now what I can do is done, so that you can see another library created with the name of PJ01. What log is trying to talk about it? See, it's created librif. So that means that library reference PJ01 is successfully assigned follows, so that the data where it is coming from the physical location is C user OneDrive desktop of ABC is the folder got connected to my SAS software right now, and it's working. Okay, so now I successfully established so the library what I wanted. So now my interest is to store your test data set into this particular PJ01. Very simple, as you have already written earlier, like SAS user.test, SAS help.test. The same thing you try to do here also. PJ01.test, you try to write it. This will allow me to store that particular data into that location. Check your log first. It is clearly saying the data set of test saved into the PJ01 folder. There we have a 3 observations and 3 variable containing a data. It gets stored here. That means the ultimate meaning is this particular data set is getting saved into your desktop location also. You just see that the data set is saved into your desktop location with the name of test. So there also it is working. So that means there also it is getting saved into these locations. So whenever you update something here, okay, imagine whenever you are updating, storing something into C. Right now, I have created a dataset name called test. That's okay. I'm trying to create a dataset name called LL. Okay. So now I'm interested to store my LL data. There I have only one record containing a data with me. If I try executing it, run the program, automatically LL dataset will be get saved into this library. The ultimate meaning is it will be get saved into your this particular location also. Okay, you can store it into this particular locations easy. Okay, now so when we will use this particular library creations and all in real time. So let me see the real time application of it. So imagine, let me try to save this particular program to your folder. I'm trying to save this particular file. Libraries and rules, I'm just trying to create it. Okay, that's it. So in this particular location I have saved already this program. So now my interest is, imagine when we will use this particular real-time application of it. So let's go to an example. So I have a data what client has given to me. You just see there are plenty of data sets client has given to me. So these are all your SAS data sets. So Naidu, how you will get it SAS data sets? Very simple. Whenever you're working as a clinical SAS programmer in industry, so that whatever the data they got it from the patients, so the clinical data management people they'll enter the data into a database, so that the database final output what it will try to give it as in the form of SAS data set. So whatever the data we collected it from the patients, so all the data is available in the form of SAS data set. So this is the byproduct of that particular database. So that we got it this data sets right now. So now client is asking me try to use this particular data for analysis. So how I can bring this into SAS? Very simple. As I know that this is available in this location, that is your C OneDrive desktop and as well as Adam data. So is the location. I'll try to copy that wherever the data is located. I'll try to copy. So then I'll come to SAS and try to write it something here called. So I want to bring all the data into SAS, right? I can write a new statement saying it as a lib name. After that, your library name. So your library name is maybe that is a analysis data set they are giving it for you. So then you can go for it ADAM as a data set name. You can write it any name. Make sure it should be lesser than 8 character. It can be uppercase, lowercase, not a problem. Should not have embedded blanks in it. All the rules, whatever I have covered earlier, it will be applicable. So then you need to mention that particular path of that folder where it is located. So earlier and this one, what is the difference? Earlier, when we try creating it, this folder is empty. So that empty folder, we try to connect it. But right now, the folder already have some SAS data sets, so that I'm connecting it. So if I try to do this, automatically this folder containing how many SAS data sets, all the data sets you can just see here. Open it. Adam is the folder successfully created here. You try to open it. These are all the data which is there in the outside of your what I can say that location. We try importing it into SAS environment. So yeah, it will work. See, this is all the data client has given to me, and those data sets I can easily import it, and it's working nice. So I don't need to worry about it. You just see that. So all the data, whatever client has shared, everything imported nicely into SAS. So this is the way where we use connecting your libraries, creating a libraries, connecting that library, and then yeah, so this is how we can bring it. So the thing is, whatever the library we have created right now, is it permanent? Now let me just try to answer that question. What is permanent means? See, as of now you see that Adam library and as well as one more library which I have created, PJ01 library, two libraries I have created. If I try to close the SAS right now, just imagine I closed everything. When I try to open that particular SAS software again tomorrow, just imagine. So now I want to check is that particular libraries are still connected or not. You just see that your pj01 is gone, and Adam library also gone. So that means whatever the libraries we connected by using a libname statement, it is only for that particular session only. Once you close the SAS session and open again, those libraries will not be appear into your libraries location. So now your interest is, no, I don't want it like that. I want it libraries back. So then generally what we do is, whatever the program you have written, right? The libraries and rules is the program you have written. You want it that particular libraries is connected back. I can tell to my SAS, just rerunning the same program again. I already have a folder on my desktop with the same name, so in the same location. So just need to rerun it so that your library is ready and then you can use it. So now the question is, Naidu, is it a waste of time in real time? Because every time when you're running the program, libraries are connecting. Once you close it, all the libraries are gone. Is it a rework? Definitely not a rework. The reason is, when you are just working on it, one particular project, one project itself, around 50 libraries are required. Just imagine. So that all the 50 libraries you connected. If I'm closing all the 50 libraries also removing, that's nice. Imagine if it is keep connected. Just imagine 50 libraries here with that say with different names. When I'm trying to connect with another project, there I have another 50 libraries. So these 50 libraries and that 50 libraries, maybe 2 months later you will jump into another project. That is project 03. There we have again, there are plenty of libraries are available. So it will be get overlapped all the data one by one or something like that. So try avoiding it. What we do in real time, we try to use a concept called on demand. Whenever there is a demand or whenever there is a requirement of that particular data sets, then only we try connecting to the SAS. Unnecessarily, we never keep connecting libraries into that location. There is no need of it. So what we do in real time also, whenever you get a project, when you are working on a project, there will be a standard macro in your organization. So what that particular macro, a piece of code I'm talking about, the piece of code when you're running it, the code what is written in the backend, it's again libname statement only. Once you run that particular piece of code, whatever that project related libraries in the SAS will be get connected automatically. Once you click on that particular piece of code or maybe select that particular program and run it, automatically on that particular folder, on that particular project, how many libraries are required to continue further, all the libraries in being set. That way, who is going to do that program? Person who is the lead programmer, the person we call it as a trial programmer in real time, a person will create that particular folder structure and everything whatever is required. So mostly you don't need to create a library for your requirement, because most of the times the library already in place so that you make use of it. But sometimes if required to create a new library with your name, maybe due to some reason they're asking, okay, create a one more library, so then yeah, you can just use this particular method of libname statement. Okay, now the question is, that is a real-time practice, saving the program automatically, program is there, rerunning it, and the libraries are getting connected. So Naidu, is there any way where I can tell to my SAS that keep that particular library keep on connected instead of just disconnecting it? Yes, we do have a method. We can able to create our library. It will be get keep on connected. So we never use it in real time, but still I'll try to explain for your purpose. Just imagine, okay, the library is whatever I have connected right now, it is just keep on disconnecting, right? When I close it and disconnecting. But there is a library called PP, which is created by me only, but it is not connecting. And every time it is coming up automatically. How come that is possible? As you said, whenever you close the SAS and open again, the PP library should grow. But that is not going, because the library created in a such a fashion that even though you close the SAS open again, it won't be get disturbed at all. So it will be still keep connected. What is that option I have really used to keep that particular PP library to be created like that? Very simple. You need to make sure to just keep your cursor on your Explorer window, mainly libraries location. Click on next, click on new. So then it will ask me to create a library name. So the library name can be anything. I'll try to write it as a PJ. So 02 is the library name I'm trying to write it. Here is a tick mark. Actually, this is what it's really doing it. So what is this? Enable at startup. When you check mark this one, whenever you are just closing the SAS and opening again, automatically this library will be keep connected. It will not disconnect automatically. If I'm not writing this, I'm not selecting this tick mark, so that automatically library will be disconnected by default. But my interest is let it keep connected every time when I'm trying to launch the SAS. Automatically let that particular folder to be connected, enable it startup, give the location where that particular library you are interested to create it. I'll try to create on my desktop with the name of new folder 5, let it be. So I'm just selecting that one and click OK, and click OK. That's it, I'm done. So new folder 5 is created. So new folder 5 is connected as a pj02. As you know right now, let me just open my, just close my SAS, open again. So there you just see what exactly you find out here. When you try to see here, okay, I'm done. Go to libraries location here. So within the libraries location, pj02 still connected. Can you see that? The reason is I try creating this library not using with libname method. I try creating this library by using GUI method, graphical user interface method. Instead of you writing a program, so you right click on it and click new and try to create your library name, and then you are writing your enabling the path and browsing that particular folder access and all. So that is what how you have created. So this is the way of creating a library with program, without program and all we have seen. So now my interest is whatever the library I have created here, I want to remove it from this particular location. I can use a statement called libname. After that your library name, PPA, then I can use an option called clear. When I say clear, don't expect the data which is there in the PP will not be deleted. Understand? It will be just removed from that location. That's it. You see that it is not appearing, but actually whatever the data it is storing in your desktop, that is not getting deleted. This is the way of creating a library. We use a libname, and after that library name and path we try to do it. The same thing we can write it libname, after that your library name and clear, so that it will be removed. Connecting and removing a library and creating a new library and all we have already seen. So now the thing is how to save the data set also with this particular locations. You already know that. Now the question is, the next one is how to save your log files. See, saving a data set is very simple. We are trying to write it and all here. And one more, don't expect the libraries we use it for storing of our programs, storing of our logs, storing of something else. No, libraries we specially use it to store your data sets, that your red ball color symbols. You can just see this one, what I can say in the SAS help also. You see that this is called data set. Data set is a specially structure of file that contain a data values. This is my columns and this is my rows. Only this type of data only we can store it in the libraries. Don't expect that, okay, I can store my program into the library, I can store my log into the library, I can store my outputs also into the library. No, library will be used only for storing your SAS data sets. Okay, we try to use it. Then how to store your log files then? Okay, right now what you are saying it yesterday in class, when I'm just closing the SAS session and open again, even the library is also just gone like that. So is there any way where I can tell to my SAS store this particular log for a permanent? Yeah, we can do that. Imagine as of now, there are plenty of log messages you are getting it. You are interested to store this log for a future. So I can tell to my SAS. How can I tell that? You just use an option called proc, means it's a procedure, print. You are just, okay, so proc print, you're writing it generally, which you already know, but you need to write one more, print 2. Okay, so then log equal to, you just mention log equal to, you mention the location of that particular log file where you are interested to save it. Imagine I'm interested to save it in my new folder on my desktop in this location. I'll try to create a folder name, can be anything. I'll try to write it all files is the folder name I'm trying to create it on my desktop. So now my interest is to store into this location. I'll just go to my desktop, copied the path of the folder. So then I need to tell to my SAS, all the log files need to be saved into this location. Until here, I have given a folder file, folder path. Yes, folder path is enough to create a library. But if you want to store the log, folder path is not enough. You need to write a slash. You need to write a individual file name, what you want to write it. Okay, so imagine, so what name you want to give it here basically. So it can be your program name, libraries and rules. You want to give the same name, you can give it, or else you want to give a different name, you can give it that also. Let's say I'm writing it, maybe I'll try to write a shortcuts of L and R is a new libraries and rules is the new file I'm trying to write it, dot log is the extension. I need to write it and give the semicolon. What is this log means? It's a log file extension. As you know that whenever you are trying to save your SAS program file, .sas is the extension. In the same way, we do have a log file extension also in SAS. So when you're trying to write it and store it, the log files will be get stored into this location. Where is that? It is just stored into this particular location. Okay, now that logs are ready, you write any program now. Let me try to bring this particular program right now and bring it down. Once this particular location is gone activated, so that you won't get any log into the log messages anymore, because I activated to print my log into this destination. Whenever you run any program right now, that log will be generated in that location only. See, the log is not generating anything, but where this log is generating or creating it, go to this particular all files location. There you have a text, that is your log file is created. You just refresh it. So I'm just giving into this location, but check it. Is that, yeah, so this is my log. So can you see that the log is, I have written data pj 01 dot test input and all, so that the log is automatically comes up into this location and it is just getting saved. So this is the way of storing the log into the log locations. So with this one, if I want the log to be stored into a different location, see, only program I need to manually go and save it by just file save as, or maybe control s. You need to keep pressing on it. Apart from that, remaining all those things, we can write a program, automatically tell to the SAS to save the log, save the output, save the dataset. Also, we can write a program for it. So this is the way of storing the log. But the problem is, Naidu, from my next output onwards, imagine when I'm trying to write something called proc, means it's a procedure. Print means you're printing it, data equal to your dataset name. So that is going to be SAS help library with the name of class dataset and semicolon and run. When you do this, what happens, when you execute it, you are getting output, but log I'm expecting in the log window, but it is not appearing here. From now onwards, my log to be appear in the log window. I want to deactivate whatever is being activated already. You want to deactivate it. Removing this particular line will not be helpful, because as I said earlier, killing a person with a knife and removing knife, the person definitely won't alive. We need to make sure to do some remedies. Then only we can save something right here. It's the same way. Proc print to log equal to, you have given a location where the log need to be saved. So now instead of just giving the location, you try to tell to the SAS log equal to log. So this will try allowing me when you execute it. That's it, I'm done. So now my log is reset to this log window itself. If I try printing this particular piece of code, execute it now. So now it is printing in the output window. Earlier also, now also not an issue. But log is started printing again. Earlier, what happened? When I given a location, once that location is captured, so that every time log used to send into that location only. But I want to deactivate that location, you can use an option called proc print to log equal to log, so that I deactivated, so that I can able to get that information and printing into this particular log window only. Yeah, I can do that. So not only that, so I can just save output also. Okay, so right now what you are writing, this is all about for saving the log. Okay, .log is the log file extension. Imagine I want to save my output also. You see that every time the output is printing in the output window. That's making sense. But now I want to store the output. I can store it by just using an option file save. Then I can save to my desktop and all. But we never do that in real time. What we do is we try writing a program to save the output also. How I will tell to SAS to save that output also? Very simple. You try to write the same code proc print to, but you have given a log equal to. Instead of that, you try to write a print equal to. Understand? You give the same location as your log file name also lr.log, even output file also lr.lst. What is this lst? .sas is the program file extension. .log is the log file extension. .lst is nothing but your what I can say that. So that is your output file extension. You are trying to write it. So now I'm trying to store it in the same location. LST file. Let me try to run this particular proc print data equal to SAS.class and run it. Now output actually should get it in output window right now, but that is not getting it right now. The reason behind that is once you execute it, the output is creating around 19 observations containing output is there with me, but where it is getting saved, it is saved into this particular location. So where it is in all file location, this is what my LST file is created. You right click on it and open with it, or maybe open with Notepad itself. You see that whatever the output you have generated in the output window, it is getting saved into this particular Notepad here. Yeah, it will work, so that I can store my outputs into a different locations also. We can store it by using an option called proc print to. You can just give a location, so we can do that. So this is all about, according to your PowerPoint presentation of today, what I try to explain here. So I try to explain about so how to save your log, how to save your output, how to save your data sets. Am I clear in this? You know how to save your log also. You know how to save your outputs and how to save your data set. You know how to create a libraries also by using libname statement. Anyone have any questions before I move on to the next point?
Hello, sir. I'm having one question.
Yep.
Like you says that we can have that extension. So how we can change that extension? Like if we want to save our file in PDF format. So how we can do that?
Then saving a PDF format, the syntax is not proc print to. Understand? Imagine your interest is now, okay, let me try to deactivate this particular proc print to equal to print what you're writing. Let me deactivate it because your interest is not to save it in a LST file, right? So now let me deactivate it. Print, I'll try to write it. So this will allow me, I'm just trying to write it. Okay. Now onwards, if I run the program output in output window, it is printing like this. Okay. Now my interest is not to save it in a LST file. Am I right? Yes or no? So you want to save it into what I can say that in a PDF document file. So then still there is a class left for you, but still as you're asking, I'll try to explain. ODS. ODS means output delivery system. PDF is the file format what I want to create it. File equal to, you need to mention that where you are interested to save that file. I'm interested to save that file on my this particular new folder, all files only. Let me try to copy the folder path. Then I'll go to my SAS. In a quotation, I need to tell my file location in this. The folder path is not enough. You need to give your file path. So it is your, what I can say that libraries and rules is the file name. So I can just give lr.pdf. I'll try to give it. So give the semicolon, and then you need to tell that ODS. So then PDF, then close. You try to write it. This will allow me to try storing that particular data in the form of a PDF file. See, I got it, the data in the PDF where it is saved. It is automatically saved into the all files location. See, my PDF file is in place. Can you see that?
Yes.
Right? My PDF file is located. This is the way of storing your output in the form of PDF, but that class is different one. I will cover later. Okay? But this one I'm trying to cover how to save
Yes, sir.
your file, how to save your data set, how to save your output, how to save your log file. Is that clear as of now?
Yes, sir. Clear.
Any other question from anyone before I proceed? Please. Okay, so the next one is we'll try to talk about SAS rules. What is this rules and what is means to you? Let's go for it one by one. I have a data here. Let me try writing it. I'm trying to write my data set name. Data. Okay, I'll try to copy this program so that it's easy. So data, my data set name test I have written. Yeah, it's not a problem at all. Okay. Can I write my dataset name as a one test? Will it work? If I try to create my dataset name, execute it, it won't. It will try throwing an error saying it's a syntax error, expecting one of the following as a name, not the numeric. How to get this particular value as a name? Understand? So one, you are getting it right. How you are going to get that? So basically one you are getting, but why it is throwing an error? Because SAS won't accept any dataset name or any column name. Even one PID also it is not accepted. That means your column names and dataset name must be start with A to Z letter. Any letter is fine. It can be T, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Anything is fine, not a problem. But it must be start with a character or underscore. I can write it something called underscore test, not a problem. Underscore one test, not a problem. It can be start with underscore, but it should not start with any number. So that's a rule. Naidu, is it okay if I try to write it as a test one? Is it okay? Yes, my rule is should not start with a number, but if my data set having a variable value or maybe variable name ending with a number or maybe data set name ending with a number, that's not a problem at all. So that's a rule number one. Definitely, any data set when you write it, it must be start with A to Z letter. It can be uppercase or lowercase, not a problem. So it must be start with A to Z letter. Any letter, it can be underscore. That's the only limitation. And the thing is, I'm writing my data set name tester. Imagine I'm trying to write this data set name test with a capital letter, but when I'm printing it here, prog, okay, print data equal to your data set name. I'm trying to write it test with a small letter if I'm writing it. Is it really a problem? No. Data set names, variable names, see, it's working. Not a problem. Even though I'm calling it in a small letter, it's working. I have created my data set name tester, but calling with a small letter, it's not a problem. Even PID, I'll try to write it as a control. I'll do one thing. Gender is the variable. I'll try to use it control shift U to make it uppercases. If it is already there in the uppercase, it will print like uppercases. Imagine when I try to call my variable, I want it only males data only to be filtered. I'm writing it where, okay. So I'm trying to write it gender equal to, I'll try to write it as a small case letter. Just imagine, I'll try to make it this one smaller case. So gender equal to, I'm trying to write it, okay, M only required, only males data only required. So what happened? I have used my variable as a capsulator while creating it. While calling that variable gender with small letter I have written, when I try to execute it, now I'm getting the output. There is no problem about it. Only males data only I requested that I'm getting it. So, okay, is it the same case if I try to write M with small letter? Okay, I'm making my gender variable name is small letter. It's making sense. Even that M with small letter, I try to do it. Will it work? When I try to execute it and run it, even log also will try to say that it's a zero observations. It is not working. Understand what I'm saying? So no observations were selected from the dataset work.test. There were zero observations read from the dataset. So we don't need any observations at all. Understand? Okay. So basically, it's not need. We are not getting any observations. Yes. Sorry. I have a mail data and I have a mail data, but why you are not getting? Because the variable values containing the data is case sensitive, mainly for character variables. Gender is a character variable you mentioned with dollar, but the dollar containing a values is case sensitive, but the variable names or data set names are not case sensitive at all. Clear? Understood? Everyone? If I execute it, see only the variable names. So I'm getting it as a lowercase, uppercase is not a problem. Go to work library. So test data set. So now it is working. There is no problem about it. PID wise, you are getting it. And so here, there is no problem on creating a variable names and creating a data set names, uppercase, lowercase, not a problem. That's what I want to tell that. Okay, another thing is I'm trying to write it. All my program, what I'm trying to write it, I try turning everything into uppercases. Is there any problem? Writing your program uppercase, lowercase, not a problem at all. Only the data and you're typing it uppercase, lowercase is really matter. But you're writing a program, total program uppercase or lowercase is not a problem. And apart from that, so all the variables default length, the PID I have mentioned, actually how many digits? Only 2 digits, but go there and open it, this particular PID column, then the length of the variable is 8 characters it will try to display. That means SAS default up to 8 characters of length, it will try to read it. And it is trying to tell me this is a numerical variable. If it is a character, it will be get highlighted here. This is a numeric variable. The numeric variable format, you will get it as a best 12 dot. I will explain about it, what it is. But right now, you need to know one thing. SAS default length of every variable is 8 character. Okay, even you double click on the gender variable also. See, it's a character variable. The length of that variable is 8 character for this one. So default, any value can able to read 8. What is that means to you? Very simple. I have a variable called, okay, name is the variable. So then I'm trying to write it as a value. I'm writing that a name, Rajalakshmi or something like that. I'm trying to write it a big name. Big name of how many characters it is? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 characters. Okay. Now I'm writing another name. Chandra Babu Naidu. Okay. The next one is I'm trying to write it. Jagan Mohan Reddy. Just imagine, all the names over here are much more length than 8 characters. What happens? It's really when I try to read it. When you execute it, run it, SAS can able to read up to 8 characters only. It won't read more than 8 characters. Okay. Jagan Mohan MOH only reading it, and Rajala and as well as Chandraba only you are getting it. Where is my rest of the values? It won't read by default. You're expecting those values also read. You can tell to us as increasing a length how many characters it is. Try to take the longest one. I think Chandrababu Naidu is the longest name. Starting my column position here, where it is column position 9, ending with somewhere 25. 9 to 25 means almost 14 characters long. I'll try telling my SAS that 14 dot, I'll try to make it. So that the name variable value until 14 characters, you try to take it. When you execute it, now you can see Rajalakshmi, Chandrababu Naidu, still it's not enough. My calculation is wrong. I'll try to make it as up to 15 characters. Let's check this. I think I need to increase it more. 16 characters I need to give it. Okay. Okay, so now you can see Rajalakshmi get complete name, Chandrababu Naidu complete name, and as well as Jaganmohan Reddy complete name. I'm getting it here. So default SAS can read up to 8 character. If you want to read it more than 8, you can give a length of that particular variable, how many characters you want it. We can read it. But so what is the end limit for this? Okay, 16, 13, 20, 500, 600, 700, like that I'll give it. What is the maximum length for this one? Maximum I can write it up to 32,761 bytes or characters we can write it. That is your 32 KB size of your file only we can able to read it for that particular name variable. Default 8. If you want to read more than 8, so we can read it with this particular method. So rule number 1 is we can create a data set. It can be start with uppercase or it will be start with a character or underscore, and it can be uppercase, lowercase, not a problem. The variable length default is 8 characters. If you want more than 8, then you can increasing the length of that variable by just mentioning how much length is required for that particular variable. You can mention it. And apart from that, another rule is I'm trying to write it my dataset name test. I have written only 4 digits. Is there any way where I can tell my dataset this much big length? Let's see, will it work? I'm not sure. So will it work or not? When I try to execute it, run it, log is trying to tell me a message. I think this dataset name, 3 observations and all containing a data, it is created. I think it is created. Is it? How many characters it is? I think, let me try to write it. Is it creating more length also? I don't know. Let me try writing it a bit bigger length. Okay, this much big length I have written. Do you think will it work? When I try to execute it, log is trying to tell me a message saying it, the data set name can't have more than 32 characters. Understand? The data set name and variable names, the rule will be applicable for both. Any variable names you are writing or any data set names you are writing, make sure to write it below 32 characters only. You can't exceed more than 32 characters in your data. Making sense? Clear? Understand? Okay. And one more is you can write a data set. Suppose if I'm writing it, MySpace data, I'm writing it as my data set name, or maybe MySpace bank. Tell me how many data sets will be created. Is it 1 data set or 2 data sets? Hmm.
2 datasets, I think.
2 data sets. Right answer. But what is the data in my? What is the data set in data in my bank?
Same data.
Exactly. That's the same data. When you try to write it, 2 data sets will be created. One is with my with the same data. Even bank also will have the same data. So we can able to create the data sets like this, multiple data sets. Then what is the purpose, Naidu, when we will use something like this? let me try to use a real-time case when we will try to use these data sets in real time. Let's take an example. I want to create a data set name called male is one data, another one is female is another data. I want to create it, two data sets with this particular example. What I try to tell my SAS is I'm writing a condition saying it if gender equal to, okay, trying to write it gender equal to male, okay, m, then I try then output in my SAS. I'm trying to write it as my new data set name called male. I'm trying to write it the same condition again here, but this time for female. I'll try to write it F. I'll try to store this data as a new data set name called female. I'm trying to store it. That's it. I'm done. When I execute it, instead of having the same data, I'm clearly telling my SAS, when you are filtering for gender as a male, once that particular data, whatever you got it, try to store it in male data set. Whenever you filter for female, that particular data, you try to store it in female data set. When you execute it, two data sets will be created. There is no doubt. Female with all the females data will be stored here. Male data set will have all the males data set get stored. Like this, we have a usage in real time. We try creating a multiple data sets like this. It's not an issue, but it won't be created as a single data set name. It will be created as a multiple data set name. But why we use multiple data sets? For different purposes in real time if you want to use it. So we can write a data set names as multiple, but you can't write a space in the middle. If you write a space, what happens? Don't expect that it will be read as a, suppose imagine my bank, I want to write it like earlier. So you can write it with underscore if you want it. That's the only possible way. You can't write a space in the middle. When you write a space, SAS thinks that my is one data set, bank is another data set, what you are trying to get it. That's what how SAS is trying to think. So if you want it, the both also combine as one data set, make sure to write it with underscore sign, so it will work. So there is no problem about it. Got it? Okay. So these are the rules you need to keep in mind while working with your data sets and as well as variable. It can be uppercase, it can be lowercase. So it can be up to 32,000 by default 8 characters. If you want it, the variable values you can up to 32,761 bytes or characters. You can increase it. Default length is 8 character. And we have learned even libraries default length is 8 only. You can't exceed more than that. Here you have an option of up to 32,777 bytes or characters you can go, but the default data set, library name always 8. There is no extension more than 8 characters to write it and all for a library. So these are the rules you need to keep in mind while working with the data set. Let me just ask you certain questions. Tell me, is my data set name, I'm trying to write it as Naidu #1. I want to write it my data set name. Is it a valid SAS data set name? Can we write it like this? I'm writing my
No.
data set name Naidu #1. Is it accepted name?
No.
Okay. So Naidu -1. I'm trying to write it. Is it accepted?
No.
Yes.
It is accepted except underscore.
No.
There is
No, -1 is not accepted. Only
underscore only accepted. Okay. Okay. I'm trying to write my data set name here with the name of. I'm trying to write it. Test dot test. I'm trying to write it. Tell me, is it accepted name?
No.
yes.
Accepted name. What? Where it will save and what it will save actually. This is a very confusing.
Yeah, it's a libraries when we use the library.
Whenever you see a dot, the dot before your value is going to be your library. The dot after your value is going to be your data set. So the test data set will be stored in test library. Got it? It's very confusing. But yes, certification question, something like this. This will ask you the question. When I try to run this particular, let's say, when I try to run this piece of code, okay, tell me, what is my data set name? What is your data set name if I run this program?
Test. Test.
Where my data set is storing?
Test library.
Test library. That's the right answer. Okay. So data set name is test and it is storing into the test library. Perfect. So now I'll just go to this one. Rules we have covered. Okay, I think we are come to an end of this particular class. I'll give you a task for today and as well as we'll try to take any question and answers.